to the Bee and Rose podcast. I see there's loads of new subscribers, so hello. Thank you for coming along and spending a bit of time listening to me waffle on about random woolly things and other stuff. It's nice to have you here, and like I say, it does do wonders for my self-esteem, so please bring it on. I'm always happy for that. Fill my cup. Not much else does, but if you can do it, then go for it. I'm in the shed at the top of the garden. We're in Durham, where I live with my husband Mark, our 3 girls, Bea, Annabelle and Sylvie, our 3-legged cat called Ivy, and our dog Roxy. It's really windy and horrible and dark, and I haven't got any additional lights up in here, but it looks really bright anyway, so I don't know what's going on. Maybe my camera's got some kind of nuclear reactor in it, because it's like glaringly bright in my face. Nothing's set right because I can't stand having exposed plug holes behind me. Look. Ugh. So I've kind of like got a bit of the desk in, but then I think, yeah, I can show off because I've got all my stuff on there and you can see it if I've got the camera at a bit of a jaunty angle. But you'll have to excuse this young lady. She's encroaching on my personal space a little bit, but there's nowhere else for it to go, so you know, c'est la vie. And anyway, look what she's wearing. You would want to be seen out with that, wouldn't you? Mighty fine. Obviously it's a finished object, but I'll talk about that later. So thank you for tuning in, and thank you if you've recently subscribed to the channel or if you're about to subscribe. Thanks, I love it. Bring it on. I think this is episode 12. I can't remember if I've already said that because this is kind of take 2. I wish I wouldn't do that. I forget what I've said the last time I did the last time I spoke, and it all just ends up as a big messy thread of blah blah blah. So sorry if I repeat myself, I can't help it. It just kind of happens. So I'm coming to you from the shed, and I had a manic rearrangement episode earlier because I wanted to work from a different sewing machine and I literally couldn't get to it. There was that much stuff in the way. So I'll give you, oh should I? Yeah, well, I'll give you a quick spin. There's my messy desk with all my stuff on for the podcast. There's the sewing machine that I sit at when I'm doing like sewing work. Proper work and the other sewing machine, and the perma board, which is always up. That's Betty, and the forbidden plug hole, and me. So yes, this is where it's at. Ooh, I think that's all right. So I've just moved the desk and I'm back in the green corner again, and I like it a bit more. It seems to be a bit brighter for some reason, even though it's not next to the door. Maybe there's just a better balance. Who knows? Who cares, Faye? Who cares? So, this episode I will show you my finished objects, which bring me an enormous amount of pleasure because they're finished, and I didn't think I would ever get anything finished. I'm used to being a monogamous knitter, but recently I've kind of just flown off the handle and just done loads of stuff all at the same time, which doesn't make me feel particularly productive because you can't finish that many things, can you really? If you're constantly casting on, it means that there's stuff that's not ever ending. So to have 2 things to show you is quite a thrill. Oh yeah. I've got some half finished objects as usual, and I've some whips which are one of the same, I guess, and just some lovely things that I'm knitting and some beautiful yarn that I want to show you. And then at the end, I did a video the other day of me dyeing some self-striping yarn. Don't get too excited. It's not like the really thick fancy stripes that amazing people like Twisted Limon or other people. Sorry, I can't think of any off the top of my head. I would need a list. I feel quite vacant when I'm talking to the camera. That they dye. It's the 6 metre skeins that you dye up, and you get quite fine, quite thin stripes. So I'm going to put that at the end. And also I'm going to show you how I dyed my Christmas speckles. So, oh, this box is in a right mess. You know, I've only got 45 minutes until I pick the kids up, so I thought, I'll do my podcast, it'll be fine. Oh, what a fool. What a fool I am. So this here, believe it or not, is self-striping yarn before it's kind of balled up. It's just huge. So I'll show you how I dye that, and hello, bags under my eyes are ridiculous. And this here Christmas yarn, which I'm knitting some of from a different batch. Shall I show you that too? Do you know what, I think the lighting's actually better over here without the additional lamps. Feel free to contradict me. Doesn't mean I'm going to listen to you, because I'm quite happy with what's going on. It means I haven't got to hawk the lamps out. They take up so much space when they're open. So yes, that's at the end. Right. But first things first, if you want to know anything about what's going on here other than the stream that comes out of my mouth, head over to Ravelry, sylviebea on Ravelry, which is SYLVIEBEA. On Instagram, Bee and Rose, BEA_and_Rose. Facebook, Bee and Rose. And I think that's about it, isn't it? Surely it's enough. What else do you want? That has to be enough. That has to be. And I don't know if I've already said it, but thank you for coming to have a look. I hope you've got a cup of tea in your hand and you're knitting. And then you can do some clackety clackety with your needles while I gabble on. This is like my therapy for the week. This is so cathartic. Anything that I've got in my head, I can just get it out on the camera. So again, thanks folks. I do apologise that you have to pick it up at the other end of the screen, but never mind. Right, so I think I'll start off with the 3/4 finished object that I think is just kind of sucking the life out of me. I'm so sick of it, I hate it, but I have to finish it because it's for a friend. It's for my friend Emma, who, if you've been watching my Vlogmas episodes, you would have seen her. She's very small and she has very small feet. And I've already knitted one sock. And I have actually done quite a bit of sock 2 by comparison. So I think that by the end of this week, I'll finish these. I'll put the heels in. I'm just going to use this for the heels as well. I haven't got any solid colour. I'm not buying any more because it's not my favourite yarn and I don't really want any more of it lying around that I just won't ever use. The colours are nice. I mean, it's great. I'm knitting them on 2.5 needles, but I think that whenever I pick them up to knit, I must distort time and space and just, you know, go into some kind of vortex because they never ever seem to get any further. I never seem to get any further forward with them. I feel like they're never ever going to be finished. And they're okay. I don't know. I think if the cream was more of a proper cream instead of like a pinky cream, I would like them a bit more. But, you know, c'est la vie. I've never been that much of a fan of this particular yarn. It's West Yorkshire Spinners sock yarn. It's really hard wearing and I know everybody loves it, but it's not my favourite. But then that's, you know, that's just me. I appreciate that it's very hard wearing and very popular, so, you know, don't throw anything at me. That's just my opinion. But when I look at them on the screen of the camera, actually, they look kind of jazzy, don't they? Like little elf slippers. I should do little curly bits and put bells on the end. That would quite suit Emma, wouldn't it? Yeah, so like I say, you would see her in episode 3, I think, of the Vlogmas things that I'm doing. I have no idea why I'm doing Vlogmas. So every day I'm constantly thinking about what I can put on the camera, and maybe that's just going to turn into my life. I know there was once I had to leave Facebook for a while because whenever I was out and about, all I was thinking was my next Facebook update. What's that all about? I need a proper job, don't I? I need to be employed. I need to have my mind stimulated, like, in a different way for hours and hours every day, so when I get home I'm too knackered to think about such ridiculousness. So yes, I think you've seen those before. They're still here. Nothing else has happened other than I've cast on something completely different, which I absolutely love. And this is Christmas yarn. It's just like this. It's not exactly the same, but it's pretty close. And I'm knitting them on my Chai Goose. They're interchangeable, and annoyingly, you know, like with your hi-hi's and your knit pros, whatever, you have the little gripper things to fasten the ends onto. These are Chai Goose minis, which I love. They're brilliant for doing the socks with. But I can't find a pin small enough to fit in the end of the interchangeably bit of the needle to tighten them up. I don't know how I put them on to start with. Anyway, it's irrelevant. If it was more than like an hour ago, whatever I used will have disappeared into the black hole because one of the kids will have touched it, undoubtedly. So I'm enjoying using them, but they are starting to come unscrewed, and I need to remedy that, otherwise I'll probably lose all my stitches. But look, get proper Christmas socks, and don't they look nice with the jumper in the background, all the Christmas readiness. And I dyed up a little toe. This is Landscape Dye Sweet Pea. It's a dye that already has the citric acid included in the pot, so you just kind of tip it in, heat it up, and that's it. You don't have to faff on at all. And then the Speckles, which are like the ones that I'm going to show you at the end of today's episode, that are red with tilly little bits of green in them, and I just love it. And I thought I could call it something like hollyberry, but then it's the wrong way around, isn't it? Because if you saw a holly tree with all of those berries and just like 3 leaves, you'd freak out. If it was going to be like holly, it would have to be green with red berries. So maybe it's just yarn, Christmas yarn in red and green. So these, I want to have these finished by Christmas Eve, which, when I don't think about it too much, feels as though it's forever away. So there's definitely plenty of time to get them done, because I'm really enjoying knitting them. And the other night I couldn't sleep. Why couldn't I sleep? Oh yeah, I'd start to watch a new series on Netflix. See, I need to be employed. You know, I'm obviously not exhausting my brain enough by the day-to-day shenanigans in the Gibson household. Which is another reason why I like doing this podcast, because it makes me think, you know. Anyway, whatever, back to the point, which I can't remember what it is. Oh yeah, I started to watch a programme on Netflix called Dark. I think it was a German sci-fi kind of time travel drama, and I had my tea really late, which meant that I just couldn't sleep. So I was downstairs until 2:30 in the morning, and I got loads done. Which was nice. And I've done these on 2.25 higher sharps. So of course I have two holes, yeah, I have 2 fingers full of holes due to being stabbed by my lovely sharp needles, but I love them. And I've done a twisted rib at the top, and other than that I'm doing Judy's Magic Cast On, which is kind of all I know for taupe socks so far, because I haven't been very adventurous. And there's not really much I can say about the leg, other than it's a vanilla sock, and I'm going to put an afterthought heel in. But I have to say that although I thought I would never ever detach myself from doing Judy's Magic Cast On and a true afterthought heel, after knitting socks like this for quite a while now, I think I need a change. I've started to get a bit bored. I'm happy with the vanilla part, but I feel like changing up the heel and the toe a little bit, and maybe even the cuff. And I really fancy doing some of the jelly roll socks, Rose City Rollers. Yeah, I like the way she graduates the colour down. It would be nice to have a little pattern for that, be handheld through the process basically. So yes, and that's the yarn, and I'm really pleased with it. It really does look quite ugly when it's in the skein, but then, I mean, you know, the speckles are pretty clean and it's nice and tidy, and it's just as I wanted it to be. But I think that knitted up, it comes into its own. Sometimes things look better when they're skeined, and when you unskein them or hang them, they look just, you know, like if, for example, I sent out quite a few advent calendars and they had minis in which were comprised of reskeined yarn to get them in little 10-gram minis, and a lot of them would have looked a lot better when they were just in the skein. However, c'est la vie, it is what it is. So yeah, but I'm pretty happy with those. I really like them. And another thing that you haven't seen before, 'tis Advent, as has been mentioned on absolutely every single second of the internet, absolutely everywhere. And my lovely friend Caroline sent me a yarny Advent calendar, for which I will be eternally grateful, because it's absolutely beautiful. She wrapped up 24 10-gram little teeny weeny skeins of yarn. She labelled all of them. I mean, look, she put labels on all of them. 24, and she put labels on them all, which I just think is fabulous. And she put them in little, I should show you, shouldn't I, but it's in the living room. She wrapped them up in wrapping paper and put them all in little bags, and it's just glorious. So with that, I've decided to do, it is the wrong pattern, is it? Oh, it might not be actually. Hang on. Oh yeah, that's a different pattern. Oh well. Sorry about that. I've decided to do Helen Stewart. Oh, how can I always want to say Wendy, who is my text message reminder. Annabelle is booked in for Christmas lunch on Wednesday the 13th of December. Please pay. Oh, I'm not very good at remembering to pay for things. never mind. Anyway, sorry, that was a bit of a telephonic distraction. Yes, so I'm doing Helen, nearly did it again. Helen Stewart's Land of Sweets. Wendy Stewart's a harp player and she's amazing. And this is what I've got so far. I'm up to day day 4. Oh, I've just started with day 5, which was yesterday's, which is this little beauty. Really, really pretty. And I mentioned this on yesterday's Vlogmas as well. So, come on camera. So I guess if you want any more information about the bits and pieces I've used in this, you can hop over there. See what I did there. Trying to spread the joy about. Yeah, I do love it. I think that I'm always going to regret not doing the adventurous wrap. This is a once a year thing, isn't it? That somebody just wonderful and somebody so lovely sends you all of this yarn for free through the post, through the have your yarn wishes granted jobby. It's not like a common occurrence, so I'm not very often going to have 24 mini skeins lying around that I can just happen to knit into something fabulous. So I think I might always regret not doing the adventurous advent shawl, which is a graduated colourway, rather than this, which is stripes. Stripes aren't really my bag, baby, but you know, I think I'll keep going now that I've done up to day 4, which is basically, that can't be 40 grams anyway, whatever. I think I'll keep going with that. So yeah, I'm sure it'll look lovely when it's finished. And something else that you haven't seen yet is this. I think that I might have shown you the yarn. Whoops, it's just all hanging out. I think I might have shown you the yarn when I bought it. It's from Cosmic Strings, which I think has to be one of my favourite hand dyed yarn companies because of the depth of colour that you get from their speckles. It's in a knot. See, this is what happens when you think you can fit a podcast in before the schoolroom and you don't really want to faff too much. Faffing is always the best way to go, people. Right, so this is it knitted up, and I know that the camera's not going to show it quite as beautifully as it is. The camera seems to wash out some of the lighter colours that are in it and just shows you as if it's white. See if I can get it any closer or not. Oh yeah, that's pretty good actually. It's just, I love it. I showed it to my friend Michelle and she was like, I don't think I like that. So I think she has some kind of fault that didn't compute. Look at it, it's bloody gorgeous. So yeah, I love these. I would knit on these constantly, but I want to get my Christmas socks finished. So maybe these will be my Christmas Eve cast off. And I'll have them finished for Christmas Eve. And I'm using some blue that I dyed up for Advent minis. This is a bit that I had left. Because I sent out 24 Advent calendars, which meant that each colour required 240 grams of yarn. So of each colour that I sent out, I had 60 grams remaining. How's that for planning, eh? I did tell you I was mathematically challenged, but that was just pushing the envelope a little bit too far. So this is just a random blue turquoise that I dyed with Colourcraft turquoise, which is a really, really strong, vibrant colour. You hardly need to use any of it. And I think it looks quite good. Again, feel free to contradict me. Nothing will change. It will still look exactly like this, but feel free. Yeah, I might do the next one with a pink toe, see what that looks like. So I'm really looking forward to finishing that off. And I'm keeping my whips in a box because I have no individuality and I have to copy off what everybody else is doing. And I've seen at least 2 podcasters with Christmas boxes and I got a bit jealous. This is mine. It's not as nice as theirs. But you know, desperate times, desperate measures. It was the only box I could find. I showed you these ones, which are knit Cosmic Strings last time because I'd nearly finished them apart from the heel. That's nearly finished them. You can't really say that, can you, when you haven't done the heel. And I'm going to use this for the heels, which is one of my hand dyed by Kate minis. It's beautiful and I think it goes really nicely with these socks, so I'm looking forward to that. And there's the blue that I've used for the socks I just showed you. It's really vibrant, isn't it? It's a lovely colour. Really nice, and it's not very expensive, you know, the Colourcraft dye. So if you have any yarn hanging around and you've got a chance to have a play, I would recommend that. But you will need some citric acid, but you can get that from Amazon. It's not expensive, pretty easy to find. And my last whip, well, it's not, but it's the last one I'm going to show you. because I don't want to be greedy. And I don't know what time it is. Let's have a look. Oh, it's all right. 10 to 3, I've got 20 minutes. Poo are you, poo are you. This is the poly orange yarn that I bought that I showed you last week in the skein, and that's it caked up, and it's just as beautiful caked. Hang on, can we get a good shot of that, do you think? Because it's really worth having a good shot of. Ah, there we go. Must be like a sweet spot for the camera where you can't. Oh there, look, once it's got it, it really gets it, doesn't it? Right, so I showed you that skein last week and I've caked it up, and I think it is just as beautiful caked as what it was in the skein. I love it. It's called Diluted Wannabe. Oh, sorry guys, I've lost it. Diluted Wannabe by Poly Orange. 75% merino, 25% nylon. And look at this. I was a bit worried when I started. I thought, if I do it as a shawl, maybe the colours will pool. No. It's stunning. And although obviously you can't tell yet because I've just started, this is Helen Stewart's, not Wendy Stewart's, Helen Stewart's tulle shawl, which is a beaded shawl pattern. So I'm using, I'm not going to buy more beads for this, I'm just going to use what I've already got. Because as I told you last time, I am basically unemployed. Therefore, I'm going to just live 40 style, and whatever I knit and whatever I make is just going to be comprised of scraps. Let's see how that goes. Should I do that as my challenge for next year? That's not going to work, is it really? That's a ridiculous challenge, shut up, Faye. Right. So these lovely beads, like turquoise ones and silvery coloured ones, have we got them? And I think they work quite well with the yarn. You can't really see them that much until the light shines on them. Like even if I hold that up there now, you probably can't see the beads, but once it's finished you will, because I'm going to whack loads of them in there. You need like 300 knots, so it's quite a significant amount of beadage, I do believe. And last time I did the podcast, I got a lovely message from someone asking about the shawl that I had on, which was this one. I think I've talked about it before. It's hand spun by me. I made it from rolags that I put together with fleece. I think I dyed some of it as well, with fleece from Wing and Wool Works, which is great. It's excellent. Not fleece, man. Roving prepared already, and a lot of it was dyed. And some gold Speckles Angelina, and you can't really see the pattern very well because it's a lace scarf pattern that I've knitted using, as I say, hand spun. And I would say that it's like an Aran or a worsted weight yarn. It's not, I think it's a bit heavier than double knitting, but it's not chunky. And it's so warm and so glorious, and it's just, I love the colours. The blue with the red and the brown. It's the nicest thing I own. I love it, and I need to take better care of it, and I need to block it. My car broke down a few months ago, and since then I haven't wanted to take it to the scrapyard. I haven't wanted to get rid of it, simply because it's got a full tank of petrol, and I really resent having to do anything with this car when it's got 70 quid's worth of petrol sitting in it. So it's melting into the drive, and for a few weeks I'm pretty sure this was in the boot, so I've salvaged it and started to wear it again. But I might wash it and block it. I wish you could see the pattern a bit more clearly. Anyway, it's the Bella Botanica pattern, which is free on Ravelry. It's charged, but it's also written instructions. And although I'm fine with charts, I've knit this 3 times now, and I've always found the written instructions to be easier to follow for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe because it's the first charted knitting thing I ever did, and I didn't have a clue what I was doing at that point in time. Yeah, so that's that. And as for finished objects, she's finished. This is the Treysta by Jennifer Steingass, which was in, oh hello, what do I say? I'm quite proficient at doing that, aren't I? Even with my left hand. I must say I've never done that to a person in real life. It's just for you. It's all for you. So I sticked it. I did that on Instagram because obviously I am an eternal show off, so I had to do it somewhere public. Better than just standing in the middle of the street. I've got these lovely shiny buttons that Bea chose because I wanted her to wear it, and I was terrified that as soon as she felt it and she felt the yarn, she'd just run for the hills screaming. but she didn't. She claims that it's not itchy at all, and that she just loves it. She's worn it so much and I'm thrilled to bits. I'm really, really, really pleased. So yes, I did the knitted buttonholes. I didn't follow proper instructions for the buttonholes. I can't even remember what I did. I think I did decrease 2 stitches on one row and then did a knit cast on of 2 stitches on the next row. Really, I can't remember. It was very uncomplicated. All I wanted were holes, and I think I was watching something on the television at the time, something about mud, which was emotionally just terrifyingly tragic, and I couldn't think, so I just had to crack on as you do. And I said as well that I thought I would pick up stitches on this neckline because it hangs a bit, but I'm not going to do that. So long as the top button's fastened, it sits on her okay. I think it could be because although she's got quite a large chest, she's not busty, she's only 9, but the circumference of her body in this area is maybe larger proportionally to this bit here. So anyway, whatever, it looks fine. There's the shiny buttons, look. And after I'd done the steek, I was like, why did I do the crochet in bright white wool? So we went out together and we bought this lovely shiny ribbon and a little bit of lace ribbon to stitch over the top of the crochet, and I think it's come out lovely. I made the mistake of stretching the knitting when I put the ribbon on at this side, so it's kind of puckered, and obviously I'll know for next time not to do that and just to stitch it flat, but it's fine, it doesn't matter. Bee's not bothered about it, but I'm really, really pleased with it. I think it's absolutely lovely, and I'm thrilled to bits that it keeps her lovely and warm and comfortable, and she really likes it, and it's not itchy. Get the flags out. So yeah, that's that. And also for child number 1, only by age, not by status, I finished the Boylan Knitworks jumper, yeah, with the huge arms. And again, she loves it. It's really boxy. I'll get some photographs of them wearing them so you can see what they're like. It's really boxy, and actually I've got a photograph of Michelle wearing it. Yeah, I didn't have to bribe her or anything, she just put it on, so I can find it if I haven't deleted it to make more room on my camera for random photographs. I'll slip it in here. You're welcome. Yeah, so that's finished. So she does have trouble putting it on the right way, and I explained to her that there's a lot of purple at the back and just a little bit of purple at the front, but it's still, she does struggle for some reason, so it's like up round her neck somewhere. But yeah, the sleeves are a great length. I've thoroughly enjoyed knitting this, and when I put my mind to doing the sleeves, I couldn't believe that they didn't actually take that long. Maybe that's what I need to do with the wormhole socks. Maybe I just need to knit them. You know, knit your stitches and then you'll get them finished. And yeah, I think that's about it. The only thing I want to mention is, oh no, 2 things actually, just very, very, very quickly. This is what happens if you knit socks with wool that doesn't have nylon in them. Yeah, that's my top tip for the day. Use proper sock yarn. Just because something says it's sock yarn doesn't mean it is. Just because something's 4-ply, it's not sock yarn. That's depressing, isn't it? And I knew, and I still did it, and I don't know why. And they were really, really lovely. I really liked them. And I want to say a massive thank you to Rosie from, let me just check that I get this right, the Happy Bubble podcast, which I watch and have subscribed to, because I've won something and I didn't even enter a competition. She bought me a pattern. How amazing is that? She did a competition on her podcast, and it wasn't only for the person who won the prize, but she said that she would buy a pattern from somebody's Ravelry wish list for the person that won. So Woolly Kim nominated me. So thank you, thanks guys, I really appreciate it. And I'm just looking for the name of the pattern that Rosie got me. Oh yeah, it's see if I can show you. I love it. It's a top, it's a plus size one as well, so she's thought about me like that, and it's lovely. It's got like cables down the back, and it's by Fatima Hines and Twin Vines it's called, and it's really, really nice. And she says, ta-da, I ran a little giveaway on my podcast and the winner got to nominate a friend to receive a pattern too. And then it says nice stuff. I'm not going to read it out because I'm a bit embarrassed. but like really chuffed, thank you. And also Salt City Knits, thank you so much for mentioning me on your podcast, Emily. If you want to come and live in my shed, there's plenty of room. There's no toilet, I haven't got a kettle, and it's dark at 3 o'clock, so you might get a bit depressed, but you know, and have terrible problems with water retention. But you know, if you can find a spot, you're very, very welcome. Yeah. Right, I think that's it. Is that it? I'm saying that as if I'm actually thinking and I've got nothing going through my head at all. Yeah, I think that's it. I'll get this lot packed up and taken back in the house, and I shall put this little baby together for tonight and hopefully have it online tomorrow. And I'm also going to continue with Vlogmas, which is probably complete overkill. I don't know if people generally do podcast and Vlogmas, but hey, I am. So I'll see you later, skaters. Bye. Right, you may or you may not be aware that you can actually buy 6 metre skeins of yarn, which means skein that's like 3 metres down one side and 3 metres down the other. Don't know if I really needed to say that. And with these skeins you can, oh, I've got some on, hang on. You can dye self-striping yarn. Oh, you can't get like lovely big thick stripes, but you can kind of do self-striping like that. So I've got 3 stripes on there, all of about an equal width, and that's from a 6 metre skein that you can buy from Treysta Yarn Company, and the effect is quite good. You're limited to the amount of colours you can have. Probably better to have about 2 with stripes that are that big, because when you dye self-striping, how I did self-striping to start with is, oh, do I really want to get into this? Can I explain it? I think I need to shut the curtain, don't I? That's better ish. So you need to know how much yarn there is in the circumference of your sock in one row. So what I did was I knitted a sock, well, a bit of a sock, on like about 68, 72 stitches, and then I pulled it out and I just measured how much yarn there was to go round once, and that is 1 line of colour. And if you have warping boards, you can use that little mathematical trick to do self-striping socks, blah blah blah, but I'm not doing that now because the warping board is in the hole under the stairs and I'm too frightened to go in there this morning. I'm not mentally strong enough to cope with pulling the curtain back. I might give you a look if I'm feeling kind, just to make you feel better about your own lives. So yeah, anyway, what I'm going to do today is keep nutting the camera and also dye a 6 metre skein of yarn. It's going to be a bit of a faff because I haven't got very much space, but hopefully you get the gist of how to do something like this. And I'm doing Christmas colours so that I can knit more Christmas socks for me, maybe do a bit of gift knitting, oh, probably not, and then I'll just kind of knit through it next year so that I'm ready for next Christmas, because every year I tell myself that when it comes to January I'll start making gifts for the next December, and it never happens. Maybe this will be the year that all my gifting knitting dreams come true and I actually get it on the boil. We'll see. Right, so I'm going to show you what's what. This, I think I'll switch off actually and then start again. So I think my dad's walked in. When I say 6 metres, I literally mean 6 metres. It's like a normal skein that's been stretched out on the Chester's skeiner machines, and it just goes on forever, so you've got to be very careful not to tangle it up. There's skein ties around it, but what I like to do is put more on. Right, so now I'm going to braid this. What you do, put it round, put one end of the loop round your hand, give it a little twist, put your hand through, grab and pull, and this just stops it from getting into a knot. And keep going. It's like giant hand knitting instead of finger knitting. Keep going until the whole thing is a braid. We do this with baby wraps as well. It helps soften them up and keeps them neat and tidy. So I've had plenty of practice. Right? So then you've got a braid of yarn. And then I'm going to stick this in the sink to soak with some water and citric acid as usual. Ah, the off button. It's like all about the boobs and the chin, isn't it? Right. And just like magic, here's one that I did earlier. So this has been soaking for about 40 minutes because I had other stuff to do. And it shouldn't braid pretty easily if you pull it from the right end. But what I've got here on the bench, I've got the whole bench covered in cling film because I'm going to dye this in the microwave. Right, so I need to unbraid it onto the bench and not let it get tangled. See, I'm just pulling it out. And a bit of it's going to hang over the end, but that's fine because I want a white bit on it anyway. Right, and just split your skein so that you've got like just like a normal little short one. Just the same difference really. And this is when the sellotape's a pain in the butt because it sticks to the cling film. Right, and I haven't used too much cling film because I just feel really bad about the fact that this is going to go to landfill. So any hills like this that I've got can cause you problems because your dye is going to run down that hill. So I'm doing this red, black and white, and it's going to be called Bad Santa. So even though it's just for me, I'm still giving it a name. Why not? And what you need to do, either approximately, or if you like my friend Michelle, hi Michelle, perfectly, is divide your skein into 3. You want 2 meters per colour basically, and that'll give you about 2 lines of colour per stripe. So I'll have 2 lines of red, 2 lines of black, 2 lines of white. Right, but if I was only dividing it in half and I was only doing red and black, I'd have 3 of black, 3 of red, you see, because it's 6 meters, blah de blah, yeah. And if my mathematical mind can figure that out, believe me, so can yours. It's not a problem. Right, so I'm just going to crack on with this and kind of figure out what needs to be where. I'll take more of a close-up shot later so you can really see it, but I've got cups that we don't use for anything other than dyeing, obviously. I've got a cup of red and a cup of black, so I've rolled up the bit at the end, which I'm leaving white, so I won't touch that, it won't get contaminated by the colours. And I'm just going to put the dye on, and when I've finished I'll bring the camera over so you can have a proper good look. This half is going to be red to here, and then the other half is going to be black. Actually that's a lie, I'm going to put the black at the front. But I do want pretty solid coverage, so I'm going to put lots on. And don't underestimate how much liquid you need either, because it's quite a long length to cover in dye. Like me, I've run out. Right, and then what I'll do is turn the cling film over and kind of pat it down. Right, and then kind of fold your cling film on itself. Make sure that your colours aren't touching, because if you're using something like a green and a red, it's going to go brown. Don't let your colours touch. I like to sit the white bit on top, and then we'll put that in the microwave. Use a ceramic dish, again it's not used for food, and just pop it in. And I'll put that in the microwave for about 10 minutes. Then I'll leave it to cool and I'll put it in for another 5 minutes or so, and that should be lovely. Right, I said I'd show you how to do my Christmas yarn. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, got my little OXO thing again that I showed you in the last podcast, that I use for speckling, and it's quite handy with these landscape dyes because you can actually get it in the pot all masked up. I'm doing 2 at a time this time, but they're both going to be different. One's going to be red and green and one's going to be red and black, so I don't want too much on here. Quite light speckles. Oh, and can you see where it's hit the water? It's kind of spread out a bit. Grr. It's really hot in the pan. Just going to let that set a little bit. And I want rid of some more of this water, I think. Live a life on the edge, tipping it out halfway through. Right, so the magic wand of Speckle is doing its thing. And I've got all the yarn quite compact in the pot, just like I did last time as well. Shame I can't get it any closer. Let's see. It's quite compact in the pot again. There's 2 skeins in there. And I've got some red dye on, which is just going to set up. So I'll put the lid on and leave that for a while. Good. You see the steam and big blobs are still there. It might be a bit problematic, but never mind. See if it's nearly set yet. I'm going to dig those bits off actually. And then I'm going to leave it. Actually, I think I'll just pound them in so I'll have a nice red patch. Leave that for a little bit longer. Right, while the speckles are cooking, I'll show you a bit more of this one. I've just pulled it out of the microwave and taken it out of the cling film, and I hate doing that and I swear a lot, so I haven't videoed it. But basically, as soon as I've got it out of the cling film in water, I've braided it again so that it doesn't get in a nasty big mess. There's some red dye still coming out of it, so I think it's because I put a lot of powder in, a lot of dye in actually. Oi, behave. So what I'll do is once the speckles are finished, I'll stick it in this pot here and give it another boil, and then I'll rinse it again. And if anything comes out after that, I know it's just because I've put a lot of dye in. Right. Tiny amount. If the thingy gets a bit damp, that's good, because you get clumps of colour, which is actually quite helpful. Lid back on now. in the pot. But I've started to knit some of this up already, and it's really nice when you knit with it. Right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to pop these in for a bit. Put the braids in, boil it all up for a bit longer.